Hi there, good afternoon.
Hello.
Maajid, as usual, you've had quite a rant there, and as usual, you've misrepresented a lot what Islam actually stands for.
Surprise, surprise. You're going to defend... What are you going to get defensive about, Abbas? Tell us.
You've had a 15-minute
all right. Yep, I'm going to let you get it go. I just asked you a question. What specifically are you going to say that I got wrong?
Okay, so firstly, you said Islam segregates women. The reality is...
I said what, sorry?
You said Islam segregates women.
No, I didn't. See, this is the typical... No, Abbas, you're absolutely ridiculous. If you're going to come on here and criticise me, quote me back to me properly, and now if you try and tell me what I think without letting me tell you what I think, I'll put words in your mouth as well. And by the way, I have the faders. I can do that quite easily. So let me tell you something, Abbas, before you continue. I did not say Islam segregates women. I said the Saudi Arabian vacuous medieval version of Islam segregates women. Are you going to dispute that?
No, you didn't say that, Maajid, and your callers and your
Oh, Abbas, I can assure you, when we go back, this whole thing's recorded.
Maajid, let's be fair. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah?
Let's not just talk
All
over
right.
each other.
No,
okay?
Abbas, we're going to have a conversation if you allow me to tell you what I think and I allow you to tell you what you think. Otherwise, I'll start saying things like you hate the Prophet Muhammad.
Imagine now you misrepresent me because I
Exactly right. So you quote me back properly and I'll let you quote yourself properly.
Maajid, I did not tell you what you were thinking.
Yeah.
I told you what you said.
Okay. Now, is there a chance you may have misheard because you're being defensive? Is there a chance you may have misheard?
You know what? I'm not being defensive. You're being inaccurate.
No, Abbas, is there a chance you may have misunderstood?
No, yes, of course. There is a
right.
chance
Now, so allow me to clarify for you 100%. What I said was, is the version of Islam, the fundamentalist version of Islam that Saudi Arabia has been propagating in this country is teaching women to segregate. Now, do you have a problem with that statement?
That's a new statement that you just made.
Well, whether it's new or not, that's what I intend, right? So now take me at face value and tell me what you think of that.
Can I answer the question?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Is that okay?
Well, if you, as long as you accept that that's what I believe, now I want you to address that question. Do you agree that Saudi Arabia segregates women?
Maajid, are you going to allow me to answer the question how I wish to answer it?
Yep, that's the question. Please answer that particular question.
No, I will answer the question how I wish to answer.
No, Abbas, no, this is not your show. The question is, Saudi Arabia segregates women and promotes a medieval form of Islam. Do you agree or disagree with Saudi Arabia's policy?
I agree that there are some specific issues with many countries around the world, including Saudi Arabia, who propagate inaccurate version of Islam. But that's not the topic that we're talking about. Furthermore...
Yes, it is, Abbas. Sorry. That is precisely the topic we're talking about, because I set the topic for the show. Don't come on this show to try and hijack or co-opt the topic. The topic for the hour is why the government has suppressed a report that we, all the public, fear names Saudi Arabia. And I fear the reason it's suppressed it is because we've just had a 3.3 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia, and we don't want to upset the Saudis. Now, I object to the Saudi version of Islam. I hope you object to it too.
Well, Maajid, if you had limited the conversation to what the government has done by suppressing this particular incident, then I would have referred to it only. But you spoke about a lot of other things in your 15-minute rant, so I would like to deal with those as well. Is that okay, Maajid?
Go for it, as long as you represent me properly. Go for it.
Right, so I will deal with the issue at hand, which is what you've discussed about the government suppressing a report. Now, they may well be some very dubious practices involved in that. But however, I believe that one should first find out what evidence there actually is, because many organizations, from my understanding, have been, slandered to be supporting terrorism, when in fact the evidence was very, very weak and the cases were thrown out.
Example?
So, example would be the gentleman from Cage, who was arrested for sending a generator. Do you remember? And then they locked him up, and then they realised, actually, maybe it did go to a charity, and he was released.
Who from Cage? You talking about Moazzam Begg?
Moazzam Begg, exactly.
Moazzam Begg, in his autobiography, openly declares that he moved to Taliban country when they were in charge because he believed in the Islamic Emirate that the Taliban set up.
So therefore he's a terrorist?
No, I didn't say. I said he's an extremist.
So therefore he needs to be locked up?
No. See, you're putting words in my mouth again. Do you consider a Muslim who voluntarily leaves Britain to live voluntarily under the Taliban because he likes their governance, do you think that's extremism?
So where does he say that he likes their governance?
In his autobiography. In his autobiography, that's why he says he left. I know Moazzam Begg, by the way, Abbas. Yeah, okay. I know him, right? I've known him from when I used to be in an Islamist organisation. So you can't pull the wool over my eyes, nor the British public's eyes. Do you? And answer that question, please, again. Does a British individual who leaves this country to voluntarily live under Taliban rule, do you consider that extremism?
Absolutely, 100% no, if you're not partaking in that particular regime. If you're going there to do charity, Maajid...
There we are, Abbas. You see, I think everyone can hear you, Abbas. It's so beautiful. I love it. I love it so much, Abbas. No, actually, Abbas, let me tell you, this is the problem with you, not with me. It's the problem with people like you who call in outraged and then expose themselves on live radio for basically being apologists for extremism. If somebody left this country, Abbas, hold on a minute. If somebody left this country and decided to repatriate voluntarily to Nazi Germany, because in their autobiography they said they like the way the Nazis rule, you would not hesitate in a moment to say they are extremists, whether they participate in the Nazi regime or not. You wouldn't for a second hesitate. In a blink of an eye, you'd say you are a white supremacist. Even if you didn't participate in the government, if you went to Nazi Germany because you wrote that you liked the way they governed, you are an extremist. Why you can't say that for somebody who voluntarily goes to live under Taliban rule, I think the whole nation can see what your true apologism is about.
That's a ludicrous comparison.
Oh, the Nazis and the Taliban aren't comparable?
A ludicrous analysis.
Really? So the Taliban weren't extremist theocrats?
Nazi Germany killed 6 million Jews and many, many other millions.
Abbas, were the Taliban a terrorist organisation?
The Taliban did things that would be considered to be terrorism. Absolutely correct.
Oh, yes. Why phrase it in such a delicate way, Abbas? Are you scared of hurting their feelings? The Taliban were an evil terrorist organisation. Can you accept that? No, Abbas, are the Taliban an evil terrorist organisation?
Answer the question.
Yeah, please do. Please do, without being delicate about it. Please just tell us what you think.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what I think. I think terrorism is when you terrorise innocent people, regardless of whether you do it from B-52 bombs from 30,000 feet,
Lovely.
or whether you do it from 5 or 10 feet away.
Lovely.
It's all terrorism.
Lovely.
The mothers that lose their children, Maajid, and pick the pieces of their children up out of those buildings, they don't care whether it was a Taliban or an ISIS or if it was a UN or a United Nations or an American or a British bomb.
So the Taliban the UN and the US are as bad as the Taliban and ISIS, in your view, yeah?
It's all, sorry, say that again?
The UN and the US and the UN and the US are as bad as ISIS and the Taliban, in your opinion.
Did I say that?
Well, you just said it's all terrorism.
Does that mean that I equate them to be exactly
Well, I don't know. You tell me. I've asked you whether you can say in one sentence, Abbas, I'm going to ask you one more time before I have to move on. In one clear sentence, can you accept my statement and repeat it after me? The Taliban were an evil terrorist organisation.
I'm not going to repeat that.
Thank you so much, sir. You have a good day. Do call in again, by the way. It's such wonderful entertainment speaking to people like you.